So I finished watching Black Panther tonight. I went to Odeon Cinemas to watch it in Iceland, courtesy of Crush House, who I thank for giving me the tickets to go watch the film. Honestly, I was a bit disappointed, but I liked the film, if that makes sense. There were a lot of things amiss in that film, and a lot of things that were done quite well. Now, some of them, which I'll get into right now, is the characters. I really loved Namor. I like Namora, who is basically love interest of Namor. You can't tell, but you can kind of pick up on it. I love Atuma, who was basically the main warrior for Namor, but also like the nemesis of Okoye, which both of them have a few battles within the film in different segments, outdoing one another. But for me, it's a bit disappointing because in the character posters, you see Atuma, you see Namor and Namora. You see Atuma, you see Namora on the posters, but you just don't see as much of them in the film. And I guess what they were trying to do, well, I guess what Ryan Coogler was trying to do is replicate what they did in Avengers Infinity War, and that was Proxima Midnight in Avengers Infinity War, and Corvus as well. And it just didn't feel the same. It really didn't. I get it. You could feel the strength of both Nomura and Atuma. You could genuinely feel the strength they had compared to Okoye when they're having the fight sequence on the bridge. But for me, it just didn't feel the same. I didn't feel like, wow, these guys I should be fearing about, and I just didn't feel that at all. Another thing I want to talk about is the use of silence, and I know a lot of people are not gonna realize this until they watch the film, but the use of silence was actually very well done in this film. And what I mean by that is within the first 10 minutes, or with the first 5 minutes of the film, 5-10 minutes of the film, for the first 5-10 minutes of the film, you literally just see Shuri trying to figure out how to morph some sort of cure for T'Challa to make sure he doesn't die because he has some sort of illness. And Ramona comes through the door and just announces that he's dead, and you can see Shuri broken up into pieces. But then the title card appears of Marvel, and instead of having the typical Marvel characters, Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, Hawkeye, instead of seeing all of those, you just see Chadwick Boseman, you just see Black Panther, and that is a touching tribute. But listen to what's happening. There is nothing there. It's literally pure silence, and it kind of hits you. It hits you just like how it hits Shuri when you see the words coming out of Ramonda's mouth that T'Challa has passed away, and the sudden realization hits her. We feel the exact same thing when we see Chadwick Boseman on our screen on the Marvel title card, and we're like, shit, he's actually gone. Not just in real life but also in the film, and it's something that we as an audience have to accept, and that's what hit me a lot. Now, Namor, he is a different story altogether, and I genuinely was hoping he'd be more of a ruthless, absolute, bloodthirsty killer. I don't know, I just assumed that he'd be like, he'll have no mercy, but he is just a man who's trying to stop his civilization from being targeted by the outsiders, or in this case, the Americans or CIA, because they have somehow built a machine, courtesy of Ironheart, which I'll get into in a second, and they find vibranium in the water in the Atlantic Sea. And the Wakandans find out as well that crap, there is more vibranium, and I guess we didn't know about it until a machine was built that could actually figure out where to find vibranium, because vibranium can't be detected by normal metal detectors. You have to use specific machinery, and yeah, the person who created it was Dominique Thorne, who is Ironheart, and she did it because it was just a project and she somehow built something within a few months, and it's probably the most powerful thing that the CIA could ever use, and that is why Namor comes to Wakanda somehow under the radar in the water to come with a proposal: find a scientist who made a machine so he can kill her, or I basically go wage war with Wakanda. and he is basically trying to give a proposal to Wakanda to show that I want to have an alliance with you, but I guess they didn't want to do that because they just don't want to kill an innocent girl, and they find out afterwards. There is quite a few quirky moments in the film, like there's some funny jokes. Okoye, who has some really cool moments with Shuri, especially with Ironheart as well. The one thing that I had an issue with this film is the pacing. The pacing felt a bit off for me. The times where I wanted to mourn a death of a character or I wanted to mourn a sudden realization, I didn't get the chance to do that. So, for example, this is a huge spoiler. Ramonda, she dies. She gets killed by Namor. Namor ends up blowing up the palace, and she ends up drowning after trying to save Ironheart. So she goes out like a hero, but the whole moment, that whole realization that Namor told Shuri, "Hey, you are now queen. This is her fault. You are now queen. Bury your bury your dead, and basically brace yourself because it seems." And that's like a proper warrior. That man's a warrior. I got goosebumps just hearing that when he was just like straight business. Bury your dead, mourn your queen. You're now the queen as well. And it's quite cool that moment was. But then Shuri and everyone else buried Ramonda just like that, and that was it. It was literally within about 2 minutes, and I just felt like I just needed a bit more time to feel it. It just felt a bit rushed. I would like a couple of more minutes of just like, pure sadness and loss. I wanted to feel that, but I didn't get that, unfortunately. Another thing I want to talk about, and this is really poorly done in my opinion, is Martin Freeman, and his character was just such a total waste in this film. In Black Panther 1, which came out a few years ago, that used his character, Martin Freeman's character, Ross, so well in Black Panther 1, and in this film he just felt like a side character with a mission that didn't make any sense. And as you know, when you watch the film and you realize the person that he is with most of the time, which was by my surprise, was Val. So you have Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, who is basically the main antagonist of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, who is recruiting the Thunderbolts in the Falcon Winter Soldier, End of Black Widow, and now in this. And you realize that Martin Freeman is basically, that was his ex-wife, which was oh shit, he fucking Everett was sleeping with Valentina, which is bruh, it's a bit mad. That storyline felt so out of pocket because this film is supposed to be a tribute to Chadwick, and I don't want to think about the future. I don't want to think about future Marvel projects. I want to know what's happening now. I want to know what's happening to Chadwick right now, and that is exactly what I needed. But unfortunately, we didn't get that. The issue with me was as well is the final two set pieces. You've got the war in Wakanda itself, so Namor and his army basically are attacking Wakanda, the central city of Wakanda, and they are blowing everything to smithereens. And I assumed that would be the final battle, but that wasn't the final battle. The final battle was at sea, and they were on a ship, and it is quite sad that they didn't swap it around. I preferred for them to fight them at sea at their homeland, to fight Namor and his people at their turf, and then swap around to Wakanda itself. I think it would have been a lot more powerful to have Ramonda die in the final part of the film, and having her buried and being mourned alongside Black Panther T'Challa, because it does take place 1 year after his original death. So I think that would have been a lot more powerful, but that's just my opinion. I also like the idea of Talokan, which is basically Namor's world underwater. But the thing is, I just didn't feel as mesmerized as I wanted to be. I guess they were trying to go for more realistic look. Like if you look at Aquaman, when you seen Atlantis, it was absolutely gorgeous, beautiful colors, vibrant. It genuinely felt like a new world. But when I saw Talokan, it just didn't feel like a proper city. It just didn't feel like a huge underworld in which they created. So I was a bit underwhelmed when I saw that, but I respect the fact that they have their own city, they have their own little civilization underwater, and it was quite well done. Like you can see kids playing football, you can see like you can see bar merchants, you can see shopkeepers. It felt like a real life civilization that's under there, but I was a bit overwhelmed with the way they produced it. Angela Bassett was probably one of the best characters in that film, only because the way she pushed herself to bring out the raw emotion. When she came to the realization that her son has passed away, you could see the pain and sorrow in her voice. But the one performance that literally put it out there for me as the best scene in the entire film in terms of verbal pain is when she's talking to Okoye, who basically loses Shuri on the bridge when Namor and his people attack her and take her underground as I wouldn't say as kidnapped, but they take her as technically a hostage, because you can feel the pain of Ramonda losing her daughter and thinking that she may be dead, and the way she screams, the way she the way she is so hurt from the fact that she's lost her daughter and her son. It was just a beautiful thing to see. Sad, but a beautiful thing to see, that the pain that she had, and that was such a moving scene. And if you want to know what she actually said, watch the trailer. And when she says,
"I am queen of the most powerful nation in the world, and my entire family is gone."
That scene itself was what she's saying to Okoye, and that was after she lost Shuri by getting when she was kidnapped by Namor's people, and it was quite like, whoa. That was such a heartfelt scene. Now, this biggest shock was the fact that it's the fact that you have Nakia's son being introduced right in the post-credit scene, and that was something that we're like, "Whoa, okay, this is something new." So Nakia, she was basically gone from Wakanda for about 6 years, I believe, or 5 years, from what they said in the film. So she wasn't there for T'Challa's funeral. But the reason why is because T'Challa and Ramonda agreed to not have her there because they didn't want their son to basically see that, and they wanted him to grow a new life, like a happy life, and that's exactly what they did. He slowly grew up, but then you realize that Shuri is so emotional seeing her nephew, more or less, and it's quite cute because he introduces himself as Prince T'Challa, and that's his Wakanda name, but his Haitian name is Toussaint, and it's quite cool that the way he was introduced, because the whole post-credit scene was basically an extended version of what happened at the final moments of the film, and that final moments is where it hit everyone the most. Silence once again. Shuri realizing that she needs to let go of the pain she had, and the thing that her and her mother did in midway through the film, she wanted peace, and she wanted to let go of the pain that she had for T'Challa, and her funeral gown, she put it next to the fire to burn it, because that what happens a year after someone passes away. You burn the clothes that you wore for the funeral, because it's your way of filling that void that you have in your heart from having a loved one pass away. And that's exactly what happened. But then Nakia comes along with Toussaint and shows him to Shuri, and Shuri's like very heartwarmed. The thing is, that scene itself was so emotional. She closes her eyes and you could just hear silence, but just the wind and the sea crashing, and you just realize this is her letting go. This is her relaxing. This is her peace, and this is exactly what she needed to do a year after T'Challa's death. And I guess it was really powerful. Shuri becoming the Black Panther was a kind of a strong moment as well, because I genuinely thought it was closer to the end of the film, but it actually wasn't. When she went through the plane, and she saw the person who she think that was supposed to connect her, she ended up seeing, spoiler alert, Killmonger. Killmonger, yes, Michael B. Jordan returned as Killmonger, and bro, when I say his presence killed it, he absolutely killed it. I genuinely felt like, whoa, he is actually as ruthless as I remember him from the original Black Panther film. And it was just amazing, because what the whole point of someone turning to Black Panther, or someone going through the astral plane, is that they bring the person who they are wanting to see most. And after the death of her mother, or Ramonda, she felt vengeance, she felt anger, she wanted to kill Namor, and what better person to show in the astral plane who could bring that sort of person out of her is Killmonger. And that is why he kept saying to her, "Oh, you're the one who brought me. You're the one who thought about me." And she was in such denial. But he goes, "No. Would you rather be a selfless king like T'Challa, or would you rather be someone who gets stuff done?" And that's exactly the way he phrased it, because it's true. He tried to do his thing to make stuff happen because it was best for his people, even though he was like a warmonger. And Shuri slowly realized that, yeah, that's what I need to do. But in the end of the film, when she has a final fight with Namor, she ends up realizing this is not the person I want to be. I want to be able to, I want to remember my brother. I want to remember who I am. And that is when she sees her mother in the astral plane, and she realizes this is not who I am. I should show mercy. And she shows mercy to Namor. And that's when Namor accepts the fact that, okay, we should not be fighting. We should actually show each other some, we should show each other some peace. And let's just live with each other as a peaceful and in harmony. But yeah, so that's what I think of the film. The film has a lot of ups and downs. It has some moments which are stronger than others. I genuinely think that it could have been developed a lot more. I think Chadwick Boseman passing away was such a big loss for the film, and it was a nice tribute from Marvel to show those specific moments to remember Chadwick Boseman. And I think for me, the film is a watch. You must go watch it in the cinemas. Don't think of it as being a masterpiece as like the first one, but think of it as a tribute to Chadwick Boseman and watch it for what it is, which is to remember him. If you like the review, if you like the video, please like, share, subscribe, and comment, and hopefully I get to see you in my next video.